Believe it or not, and I don't really see why you'd have a reason to not believe it, I've actually been sitting on this all year. I got this figure. This is I'm not going to try to pronounce the company name because I feel like I'm just going to butcher it, but it's JGMQ01D Steel Head Commander, a Nemesis Prime recolor version of this third-party Chibi style Rise of the Beasts Optimus Prime done up in Nemesis Prime colors. Clearly, I think I just repeated myself there, but whatever. And yeah, I've been sitting on this almost all year. I forget exactly when I got this guy in 2025, but it was pretty early. And I wanted to talk about him because he's so good. But I was held to my old... I had to, hold to my own rules, my own arbitrary rules, and wait to talk about him until this month. But it's finally here, we're finally talking about him, and I never got batteries for the head, so can't do the light up thing. Oh well. But this figure is incredible, and I'm going to try and explain why. As you can see, this is a Nemesis Prime Colors version of Rise of the Beasts Optimus Prime, but chibi-fied. He's got a stockier body and proportionally large head. That's just how these kinds of things go. But this figure is so good. First of all, feels surprisingly dense and heavy for what he is. There's some pretty decent diecast in here somewhere. I'm not entirely sure where, other than the fuel canisters on the sides of the legs. There's more to it than that, for sure. I'm just not entirely sure where it's at, but this is a surprisingly dense figure. The molding and sculpting is amazing and fantastic, and there's so much nice paint and color breakup on this thing between the gunmetal on the toes. Like, it's very slightly different. Well, it's not gunmetal, it's like this darker gray plastic, but it's very slightly different than the black used for the lower legs. Got the silver, the metallic turquoise, and it just breaks it up all over the place, from like the shin vents and the knees to the hips to the waist section to the midsection to the little flappy doos underneath the windows and there, and just all this stuff. Even along the sides and along the back, they even have some gunmetal and silver. Granted, yes, there's a lot of cheating going on here. Like, obviously, he's got the truck mode smokestacks back here, so these little ones on his shoulders are fake. But considering what this is and how it's supposed to work, that makes perfect sense. Oh, and also silver around the back of the head and on the sides. I don't mind a little bit of cheating because, again, this figure is just so freaking cool. He also does have a matrix chamber. You open this up, you can see that there is silver painted in there. Yay. Really, my weirdly chief gripe with this figure is the fact that these chest windows sit like this. I really wish there was a way to have them sit slightly open like this in robot mode. And as you can see, you can just do that. You can pull them out just a little bit and give them a little bit of an angle, and that's fine, but the problem is if you grab them by the chest, you close the windows. So I really wish there was some kind of thing that they had engineered into this guy that allowed these windows to stay open very slightly for the robot mode. Whatever, he still looks incredible. It looks very much like that Rise of the Beasts Prime. The head is about 30% of the figure, and the sculpting is great. I believe there is a... because I've had this guy for almost a year now. I believe there is an alternate face or face plate that allows you to... you can pop off the face plate and give him... there you can see the little battery thing. And give him a non-masked face. And this version, I'm pretty sure, does come with the non-masked face. I don't want to use it because, in my mind, Nemesis Prime is always masked because, oddly enough, and perhaps counterintuitively, he actually cares about other people. I don't know, I think it looks cooler. But the sculpting is fantastic. It's hard to see, but they even sculpted the eyes to look more like the live-action, somewhat humanoid eyes. And if I had a battery, the eyes would light up. Now, for articulation, it is surprisingly good on this guy. The head is actually on a ball joint. It doesn't look like it, but you get a pretty decent amount of side-to-side tilts, some up, some down, so you can rock things around a little bit. can do a full 360, which is necessary for the transformation, but you can do that. Also, this piece, kind of wish this locked in a little better, but not the biggest deal in the world. But yeah, like that's so good. You get a surprising amount of expression there. The arms can go all the way around. They do sit a little bit lower on the shoulder, so it looks weird if you get to certain angles, but for most angles that you're probably going to put this guy in, it looks fine. And they can also go in and out, and because these smokestacks are part of a transformation, you can rotate them a little bit, which can at the very least get them out of the way for certain poses, but you do also have to be careful of this flap back here that can get in the way. As you just saw, this kind of caught. It's just stuff you got to be careful of with this, with bits getting caught if you're not too careful, but it's fine. You get a bicep rotation, 90 degrees of elbow, wrist rotation. You have a ball joint at the base of the thumb as well as a hinge, so you can rotate the thumb, move it around. The fingers are, the 3 fingers at the back are on 1 hinge, and the index finger is on 2, so you get a curl in there and a curl in there. So you can have him pointing or beckoning or whatever. You get a waist rotation. I believe in robot mode you can disconnect the upper body for... Nope, you can't. Okay, oh, that's right, because this piece is pegged in down here. So if we unpeg that, will it come out? There we go. Okay, so what's going on is this is tabbing in here and preventing this from coming apart. But if you untab it, you can use it to give him a sort of ab crunch. It doesn't look the best. I feel like because of this guy's proportions, you don't really need to have an ab crunch, but you can fake it. He's got front hip skirts that they're on ball joints, so they can kind of rotate out of the way, and the hips can go forward that far until the knee crashes into the hip skirt, but if you bend the knee more, you can get it out further. Can't go back all the way, but can still go back pretty far considering the butt skirt is solid. Can go out all the way. You do get a full thigh rotation, and as you saw, you get a knee bend, and the knee bends a lot more than you would think because of how the transformation works. So you get way more than 90. You do get a gap up here, but I am having a difficult time caring. And then you get ankle tilts. There's even a molded piece here that makes it not look horribly broken up if you get extreme with it. And for the toe and heel, you don't get any forward-backward motion on the foot, but you do get a toe and a heel, so you can kind of use that for additional posing support, I guess. Pretty poseable little guy. Can be very expressive. And he has a couple of accessories that you can mess around with. I don't remember if he comes with anything other than these, but he's got an axe that's molded in this dark gray and has this kind of nice gradient spray along the edge that makes it look like it's glowing or covered in neon metallic blood. I don't know. And a blaster, also in the dark gray, no paint. And these just peg into the hands. The hands have these little peg holes there, so you can just get the thumb out of the way, bring in the axe, peg that in, curl the fingers around it, and now he is holding the axe. And for the gun, surprisingly, it works exactly the same way as the axe. So you peg this in to the palm, curl the fingers around, and it's even lined up so that the trigger is like right where the index finger is, so that's cool. And you can get him in some pretty decent little weaponed up poses. So yeah, this is a very cool little action figure. Main point, very cool, and actually not a bad size despite the proportions. Clearly he is a little bit shorter than Legacy Scourge and Holiday Prime, but not by a whole heck of a lot. Maybe a head shorter. Yes, that is shorter. I'm just saying, because of this guy's proportions, I feel like it's easy to assume he's going to be very small, and he's surprisingly not. And here he is with Leader Class Studio Series Prime from Age of Extinction. Pretty sure it's Age of Extinction. Again, a lot taller than you might expect. It's a little bit taller than Timeline's Prime, specifically Timeline's Hearts of Steel Prime, but then again, This guy is more of a deluxe size than a Voyager, so that kind of makes sense. Of course, I got to put him next to the other Chibi-fied Nemesis Prime that I own. Other third party, I should say, because I guess alt modes Nemesis Prime counts too. But anyway, here is the Magic Square version of whatever this guy... I don't remember this guy's name off the top of my head, I'm sorry. But yes, this is the Magic Square version, and it is really interesting to me how much better this is. I mean, I still think this is a neat little figure, but this guy, the aesthetic, like, it's a lot messier, which a lot of it's covered up because it's black plastic pretty much all the way around, so a lot of, like, the things, like the wheels and the forearms and stuff, do hide a little bit better, and this guy's transformation is a bit more of a struggle than this guy. Also, he's way smaller. It's just funny how I was like, oh, this is so cool, and then they did this one. It's like, wow, that is just leagues better. And we're sticking with the theme gimmick size comparison for this month, looking at Reactivate Soundwave, because once again, I just want to state how this is a very good Soundwave figure, and way too many people are sleeping on this thing. Alright, as I strip him of his weapons and get ready for transformation, I've got a coffee, I've got a Patreon, links to both down in the description. They'll also be at the end of the video. You can support the channel monetarily, or if you don't want to or can't, then like, comment, share, subscribe. That also helps too. Alright, now, let go of the axe. Let go of the axe. Now it is time to transform this guy, and this transformation is a little more involved than you might expect. It's not bad. It is also way less intense than the Magic Square, but it is a little involved, and there's one thing in particular I definitely am going to drill into you all as we watch this transformation, because it's a very, very important detail when we start getting into like the torso stuff. First thing we're going to do is start prepping the arms. So we're going to just kind of push the thumb in against the hand and then curl the fingers in kind of like that. Then rotate the hand 180 degrees. I'm going to rotate the forearm 180 degrees. And this will just stay like that for now. Same deal here. Tuck in the thumb, curl in the fingers, rotate the hand 180 degrees, rotate the forearm 180 degrees, or bicep really, because that is the bicep rotation, because the elbow is there. For the waist, we are going to rotate the waist 180, as you would expect for something like this, and I forget if this is how you're supposed to do it, but this is how I've been doing it. You just kind of rotate the hip skirts down and in, straighten out the feet, curl in the toe and the heel, and then the legs will double hinge in. It's not a slider, it's like a double hinging mechanism that gets the legs to compress towards the body just a little bit, and then they will peg together right at the heel. And that is the lower body pretty much entirely done. Now, going to take the head, rotate it 180 degrees. That will give us the room we need to move this whole chest assembly. So this unpegs from down here, and the whole point of moving this is because the curvature of the head here allows these bits to swing past it. So we can bring this up, but before we bring it up all the way, we want to reach in here and fold down the grill, and the grill actually goes through, it feeds through this little armature, so you kind of want to angle this down a little bit. That'll give you the clearance you need to get the grill out. Then we can bring this out the rest of the way. And now that the grill is out of the way, we can unpeg or disconnect the upper body and lower body. This comes out on this double hinge armature. Swing that back, and this will stay down here for now. Pull these flaps out a little bit. Rotate these smokestacks. We'll leave them like this for now. So rotate the smokestacks. Bring these panels out a bit, and this entire assembly also rotates up. Actually, probably don't want to do all that, so we've got this right now. So this entire assembly can come up. This panel underneath here rotates out and around. Now with that out of the way, now we can extend this all the way, because this is a little bit too wide and is getting in the way of these smokestacks. Now, for the head, I'm going to rotate down the ear flaps until they stop rotating, basically. I'm going to push the forehead back, because this entire top of the head is actually on a slider, so push that back. And then this, I'm going to brace with my finger so that when I push this back forward, it should keep this. There we go. You want to get this panel disconnected from the head, because once it's disconnected, we can then push this back and kind of angle it past so it can rotate up and out of the way. And as that rotates up, we want to take this panel and push it down and into the head. Now the entire top of the head will rotate all the way around and then slide back kind of into position, except now it's upside down, so the top of his head is flat and the head just looks really weird. Now this can come up just a little bit. Going to bring this up, though it's not quite ready yet. Disconnect these panels on the front here, because when you do that, you can flip this up. And you want to be able to flip this up because there's this little tab here that sits in this groove right above the elbow. And when you do that, you can now rotate the entire bicep assembly. Not the bicep, it's a separate joint. You want to rotate the entire bicep assembly around 180 degrees. And you can see now the arm sits in closer to the body, where it's like misaligned, but it's supposed to be misaligned. Rotate the arm down, fold this tiny flap out, rotate the tiny fake smokestack. I mean, they're all fake smokestacks, but rotate that around, and then bring this panel on the side of the shoulder up. The wheel that was hiding inside the shoulder slides down, and then this panel folds down to complete the wheel well. And this panel on the side of the forearm folds up, not all the way for now, but it does fold up, and then the forearm will actually slide up and finish all that off. Same deal here. Now once again, you can see that's the bicep. You do not want to rotate the bicep at this point. You want to disconnect this panel on the front so you can bring this entire outer shoulder assembly up and rotate the entire bicep assembly around so it's now off center. Then we'll just fold this panel up a little bit, fold this down, rotate the tiny smokestack around, bring this up, push the wheel down, and then fold the wheel well bit down and slide the forearm back up. This is the thing that I was going to say. I really want to make this as abundantly clear as possible because this is a very important order of operations for this transformation. What's going to happen is the shoulders will compress and the head will come down. You need to compress the shoulders into the torso first, then push the head down. Do not push the head down first and then push the arms in, or try to push the arms in. And likewise, when going to robot mode, do not try and yank the arms out before pulling the head up. I haven't opened the torso, but something about the way this mechanism is designed, the head pushing down kind of locks the sliders for the arms that compress the arms into the body in place. So you need to get these arms compressed before you push the head down when going into vehicle mode. You absolutely do not want to do it any other way because you could end up breaking something. Thankfully, I didn't break anything, but it was very apparent that yanking on this was not a good idea. And it's so much easier to compress the arms in. And these will actually, there's a tab on the back of the forearm that tabs into the midsection here. So slide these in all the way. Now that these are slid in all the way, the head will compress without any real fuss. There we go. So the head will compress. That is how you do that. Again, I know I'm saying this a bunch, but I want to make it as clear as possible. When you're going into the vehicle mode, compress the arms into the body first, then push the head down. When you're going into robot mode, pull the head up all the way until it clicks first, then pull the arms out from the body. With that done, these former front of the shoulder flaps just kind of fold up and in and tuck in there. They don't peg in anywhere, they just sit. These flaps that were the back of the robot fold in, and there are these little pegs on the sides here that will peg into the sides of the head. You just want to make sure that those get around these other panels that are on the shoulder bits. It's easier with those panels on the outside. So these peg into the sides of the head. This flap up top hinges down, and it's on a double hinge. You want to move the top hinge to get it lined up. And this will line up with the sides. It will line up with the inversed flat top part of the robot head. And with all that done, we can now rotate these smokestacks, the proper vehicle mode smokestacks, the rest of the way up. These panels that were on the outsides of the forearms will fold in and fill in the sides of the cab. I'll just do it now. You don't have to do it now. I sometimes do it last, but I'm going to do it now. So you take the gas canisters that are on the sides of the legs, pull those up, and there are these tabs on the metal piece towards the front of the gas canister that will peg into the palms where the weapon's pegged into. And this is why you want to have the hands oriented the way they're oriented, because when you have the fingers tucked in against the thumb like that, and you have the thumb flat, it gives you the clearance you need to get everything in here. Because you can see here that there's like this hinge piece that just manages to go like kind of sandwich around the fingers and the thumb. And that gets everything to peg in and line up as it should. To finish it off, from here I feel like it's pretty obvious. You want to bring up the front of the cab, and it will swing in and tab in to the top and close around that inverse part of the robot head. So now it looks like the mostly flat top of a cab. And then we take these flaps that were the shoulder bits, bring them around, and you want to be careful because of these side flaps stick out a little bit. So I find when you're using this double hinge, it's best to use the hinge that's closest to the all the extra shoulder flaps first, so you can make sure it clears this almost unnecessary tab on the side there. So you bring that in like that. You can see also the fake smokestack will sit just underneath the front of the truck there. And in addition to being careful about this tab, you also want to be careful of this inner hinge on all the shoulder flappy things, because that can also get caught up on that panel. Bring that up and around, and then this piece will tab over in the front. We'll tab over the grill, the half grill from the other shoulder assembly thing. And why aren't you lining up? There we go. That all comes together. That is all nice and secure. There we go. There is Steelhead Commander in vehicle mode, and this is a surprisingly convincing vehicle mode. There is an extra piece that this figure comes with that pegs into the front here. It's why you've got these 4 slots on the front fender. It's because that weird roll bar grill thing that Rise of the Beasts Prime had is a separate piece that pegs in here. I don't bother with it because it doesn't have a place to go in robot mode, so I just leave it in the box. And as you can see, it looks fine without it. You've got these slots in the front here, which are a little bit but it's not like there aren't little openings and panels and stuff around the rest of the vehicle mode. Right, so Steelhead Commander's truck mode is pretty cool. You do have the obvious thing of like robot legs for the back with just a cab in front of it. It's fine. A lot of primes do this. This doesn't really bother me at all. The feet are relatively clean, all things considered, so that's nice. The detailing along the back section, not counting the actual cab part of the truck, is very meh. It's just all the robot mode stuff. And then also, hey, look, some wheels that you couldn't really see that well in the original robot mode. I don't know what I'm saying. In the robot mode. But there's a lot of cool stuff happening with the cab. Like, that transformation is wild. The fact that that head manages to disappear, and the arms, and the upper body, it is really clever how this transformation works. And aside from that very weird nuance of needing to do the arms and head compression in a certain order, it's really pretty straightforward. Everything lines up and pegs in really nicely, especially when you're doing things in that particular order. And yeah, it's got some hinges on it, but it's whatever. I do like, though, how you've got a decent amount of extra color in just this mode. That metallic turquoise is used for the stripe along the outside of the cab that goes all the way around. Plenty of silver for the front bumper, the headlight section, the grille. I also neglected to mention in robot mode, but you get the little silver windshield wiper details just below the windows, which is nice. You even get a little bit of silver right here for what I assume are the door handles. The only thing that kind of bums me out is they've got these translucent red windows, which do work considering, like it's kind of darkish translucent red, but it's bright enough that it stands out in robot mode. It doesn't look too dark. And it also works when they're closed because the silver and gunmetal are bright enough that it makes that red stand out a little bit better. But what bums me out is while they painted the side windows, they painted them in a gunmetal color. And I don't understand why. I don't expect them to paint match a translucent red for the windows on the front, but do something. Do a metallic red or something, Make it so that the windows are red all the way around. I just don't understand why they decided red for the windshields, gray for the side windows. Because again, this is paint. This isn't plastic, so they made a conscious choice to paint these windows. I just don't understand why they didn't paint them red. But yeah, this is a cool, solid little truck mode, and it does roll pretty decently. Even from the back, it's actually really clean. This panel covers up all of the junk that you would normally see inside there, that whole weirdly butchered head that's collapsed and folded in. You just don't see any of that. Very cool, very well engineered, very solid, pretty darn heavy, and once again, pretty decent size. Bringing in Siege Prime, Nemesis Prime, a version of Siege Prime. It's interesting. They're not the same size, but they look like they're roughly the same mass. Granted, Steelhead Commander is noticeably heavier, but the cab for Siege Prime is just a little bit smaller, not quite as bulky. And while the vehicle mode is longer, the back section is kind of squished down more, a little bit narrower. So at this point, I think I've kind of exhausted everything I can say about Steelhead Commander here. It's a fantastic figure. As I've said, it is fun to mess with. The transformation is cool. The engineering is very effective and kind of genius in a lot of places. It's got its very small problems, but it's still a really cool figure, and considering what this is and what it accomplishes, it's really impressive. One more time, I know I've said this so many times, but just one more time, I have to say, again, when transforming this guy, going to truck mode, compress arms first, then compress head. Going into robot mode, pull out head first, then pull out arms. Make sure if you get this figure, you remember that. Anyway, that is going to do it. This is a fantastic figure, well worth getting, which is great because now you probably can't find it anywhere because I've had this guy for almost a full year. Hopefully he comes back into stock. I'm pretty sure there are other versions of Steelhead Commander that are out there. But anyway, that's enough about what I think. What do you all think of Steelhead Commander here? Whatever your thoughts, feel free to chime in down below. I always enjoy hearing from you all. Thank you everybody for watching, and well, I know what the next video is going to be. It's gonna be interesting.